Happy Friday! We are live here from Studio 8 in downtown Wenatchee for a Friday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. End of the work week, end of the month. Last day of April, it's payday. I don't know what I'm going to do with my $47.19. Probably paint the town red tonight. In for some change in the weather after some very mild temperatures. We almost set a record high yesterday. Didn't, but we almost did. Big cool down coming. The high pressure ridge was a flat one anyway to begin with, so it wasn't really going to be hanging around for a long period of time. And by golly, later on today, it's going to be exiting our area. It's going to allow a cold front to come in, going to make things a little breezy, considerably cooler, but still not bad. Temperatures will be above normal for the forecast period. We'll have it for you coming up. Also, lots of news to get to on this Friday. It was a busy day around the news center. We'll also talk about the Seahawks. Who did they draft yesterday? Nobody. They don't draft until like round, I think they have like the 50-something pick in the draft. We'll have some Seahawks news. Anyway, we'll preview the weekend that will be in prep sports. Great outing from Yusei Kikuchi yesterday. He had a no-hitter deep into the game. We got highlights from a nice Mariner 1-0 victory. I like 1-0 baseball games. It keeps you on the edge of your seat all the way to the very end. Plus, we'll have the obscure holiday today in history, some celebrity birthdays. The shortest Mike Mignotti opinion we have on file. If you blink, you're going to miss it. And into the back half of the hour, we had a chance to head on down to our friends at Confluence Health at their campus at 9th and Chelan to talk about pediatrics, kids' health. Get your kid heading down the right path. Find a good pediatrician. And we had a chance to talk to Dr. Eisert and Dr. Breslin yesterday, and you're going to learn a lot. It's our monthly visit with our friends at Confluence Health. Stay close for that interview. You're going to like it. All right, let's take our tour. It's 61 degrees outside of our studios. I cranked up the air conditioner for the first time yesterday, and it worked. That was a nice relief. We hit 79 for the record yesterday, 79. That was a little close, not quite what they were expecting, but it was plenty warm for most people. 54 was all we got to for the overnight low. Normally we're 66 and 44. It was a mild Thursday. Sunrise this morning was at 5:45. The sun will go down at 8:12, 14 hours and 27 minutes of daylight on this last day of April as we say good morning to the Wenatchee Valley from our cross camera. An idyllic view. Camera number 2, Megan's choice. She gets to decide. I have to guess. That's a no-brainer. That's our Arondo Rock camera as we look out over Turtle Rock. Way off in the distance is Mission Ridge. Of course, they're closed for the year, but they had a good year. Mission Ridge did. There's Lake Antioch. There's a couple of boats out there I see goofing off, having a good time. Good morning to our friends up at the Arondo Rock camera. That's one of our lower cameras. I don't think that camera is even attached to a Sky-Fi tower. I think that's just a standalone camera that we put out there just because it's such an awesome view. Camera number 3. Let's do a slow dissolve to Badger Mountain. Is that Badger Mountain? It is Badger Mountain. It's a Badger Mountain camera. She has it zoomed in a little bit. I kind of like that. Good morning, Wenatchee. We can even see some of Fancher Heights in the East Wenatchee area from our Badger Mountain camera way up there. We can peek up number 1 canyon. Pretty good. Number 2 canyon out of view. Gorgeous view there from Badger Mountain. Camera number 4. I can't wait till what we're seeing now. It's off to Omi Gardens. Hello, Omi Gardens. I felt bad I didn't get a chance to interview Jason. I came down with a little bit of a sickness. It was nothing big, but I had to miss a couple of days of work. And so Eric got to do the honors of going up and talking to Jason Browning and the pros up at Omi Gardens, some of the great improvements they've made now that the gardens are open. Going to be a nice weekend to head on up to Omi Gardens. You can see the Stemilk Complex and the Yotobashian Bridge. You can see Eastmont Avenue. Gorgeous view from the very tip of Omi Gardens and Mission Ridge in the upper right-hand corner. We're off to a very good start on this Friday. We are feeling good. 4 minutes after the hour from the National Weather Service, we have a slide to show. Oh, no, we'll just do that. Okay. No, don't worry about the slide, Megan. The slide does. Oh, there you go. So I talked about this. Cool down is coming up. We do even have, and I didn't mention this, we have a slight chance of some light rain later on today. It's only about a 20% chance, but I thought I'd mention it. The big story, going to be cooling down, and we're going to have some wind. This afternoon, we're going to have some wind. Tonight, we're going to have some wind. Saturday, we're going to have some wind. It'll die down Saturday night. If you want to avoid the wind and go outside, Sunday is your best bet because we will be dealing with breezy conditions today, tonight, Saturday, and Saturday night. And a considerable cool down, but all things are relative. It's going to cool down close to normal, but it's still going to be mild. Now we can do that forecast from the National Weather Service. So that strong high pressure is weakening. It's exiting the area as the day progresses. We'll only get to about 76 today. It's all relative under partly cloudy skies and again, breezy, but still very mild conditions. 47 for the overnight low tonight. The cold front will be moving into the region overnight tonight. So Saturday, lots of sunshine. That's not going to be the issue, but it's going to be windy tomorrow. Northwest wind about 6 to 14 miles an hour. We'll see gusts above 20 at times on Saturday. Saturday night clear 41. That's about normal for our overnight lows. Again, a tad breezy on Saturday night. Northwest wind 7 to 14 miles an hour. No wind expected on Sunday. A little bit warmer. High of about 72. Perfect day to open up the windows. It'll be just a nice light breeze and temperatures about perfect. Good time to air out the house would be on Sunday. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, a bit of a roller coaster. It's going to be a little unsettled, occasional breezes, but temperatures still above normal. Again, our normal high this time of the year is 66 degrees. It bumps up to about 67 or 68 degrees for a normal high by Monday and Tuesday, but we're still going to be above that. Big story today and tomorrow, and tonight for that matter, it will be breezy at times for most of the viewing area. Okay, outside of that, it's looking good. I'm liking that forecast. 6 minutes after the hour, going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have your Friday morning news, and there's a lot to get to, so grab your cup of coffee and come see us in 1 minute. You're watching Wake Up on Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
It's the huge grand opening of Click It RV in Moses Lake. Click It RV and the RV manufacturers have joined together to offer huge incentives and savings.
You guys gotta beat the spring rush and get in here now.
Everything is coming up zero, with zero down, zero payments for 90 days, zero worries, lifetime warranty, and zero for a solar panel with any RV purchase. It's a 000 grand opening going on now at Click It RV in Moses Lake. And get into Click It RV for parts, service, new and used during this huge grand opening sale.
Be a winner like me and get to Click It RV.
Hey folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills. Looking for great food that's also an experience? Come on out to Blueberry Hills in Manson. Open year-round and named one of the top 4 restaurants in the state worth the drive for breakfast by the Seattle Times. Serving down-home scratch country cooking with huge portions at family-friendly prices. Great food and a fun experience for the whole family, and definitely worth the drive. For more information, check our website at wildaboutberries.com.
8 minutes after the hour, it is mild, 61 degrees outside of our studios, mid-70s today. We'll be dealing with some wind today, tomorrow, and into Saturday night. Temperatures will be cooling back down, but still above normal afternoon highs right into the forecast period. And that includes most of the early next week as we welcome May. 8 minutes after the hour. Your headlines: 2 men are accused of drug dealing after allegedly responding to a police Snapchat request for cocaine and then arriving for the sale with more than 5 ounces of the drug in their car. 29-year-old Armando Radillo Overia and 31-year-old Jeremy Bernard Blauman were both arrested Tuesday after Blauman allegedly arranged to sell 7 grams of cocaine to a Columbia River Drug Task Force detective. When Blauman and Radillo arrived, police said they were transporting 5 ounces of cocaine in their car, packaged in baggies from 1 gram in size to up to 28 grams. Both men remain in jail on suspicion of drug possession, distribution, and conspiracy. As many as 11 counties in Washington state are in danger of moving back to phase 2 of the state's COVID-19 reopening plan next week, but both Chelan and Douglas counties are unlikely to be among them. The State Department of Health will determine the status of all of the state's counties on Monday, and then Governor Jay Inslee will announce any changes come Tuesday. Now, as a larger county, to stay in phase 3, Chelan must have fewer than 200 new cases per 100,000 people over the past 2 weeks, or no more than 5 new COVID-19 hospitalizations over the previous week. So, as of Wednesday, the Chelan-Douglas Health District was reporting the county's 2-week rate of new cases at 164. As a small county, Douglas County needs to have fewer than 30 new cases over the past 14 days, or fewer than 3 new hospitalizations in the past week. Now, the county is above the new cases benchmark, but there are currently just 2 Douglas County residents hospitalized with the virus, which of course is just below the standard. Almost 42% of the Wenatchee Valley residents have taken at least 1 shot of their COVID-19 vaccination, and overall about 33% of the combined Chelan and Douglas population are now fully vaccinated, and that beats the statewide average of almost 30% full vaccination. Dr. Umar Shah is the state Secretary of Health, and he says that rate goes along with continuing vaccine success in Washington. The state passed 5 million shots administered this week.
This is a graphic that shows you how long it took us to reach the first million doses administered. It was 53 days, and then the next million was half of that. And then, as you can see, we are now making progress, and at getting to the 4th million and the 5th million, it's taking just about 2 weeks for us to reach these milestones. So I think it's really critical that we see that we are continuing to make progress, but we can only make that progress if we have the adequate supply. We do believe we have the capacity across the state, and that's something that we, along with Governor Inslee and his team, have been assuring that we have the capacity across the state to administer the vaccine. And really, it's a matter of supply, and it's also a matter of demand. And we want to make sure that our population, when offered, are getting vaccinated.
For graduating seniors in the Wenatchee School District who were affected by the pandemic, well, the school district is going to allow waivers to skip some elective classes. State guidelines allow local districts to waive some credits on an emergency basis, and the Wenatchee School Board adopted a resolution on Tuesday to waive up to 2 required classes for its outgoing seniors on a case-by-case basis.
These 2 elective courses may be getting in the way due to COVID, due to online or hybrid, or whatever the situation is, family situation, and that's where that conversation starts from. But it's a very robust conversation with the student, with the family, to making sure that they understand the impact of it, especially if it has some college impact to it. If they're waiving a world language course that maybe is needed at a 2 or 4-year college for that student, they have to have those types of conversations. So it is not just waiving to waive to make it easier, but we also recognize many students and families have encountered a number of obstacles throughout this entire COVID experience, and this is one way that we can support our students so they can move forward.
A Grant County judge will take a seat on a federal bench if President Joe Biden has his way. David Estulio has held a Superior Court seat in Grant County for the past 6 years, ever since he was appointed by Governor Jay Inslee. Yesterday, Biden nominated the 47-year-old for a judgeship in the Western District of Washington's federal court. Estulio is a former attorney who practiced in Moses Lake and Wenatchee. His nomination to the lifetime seat must be approved by the U.S. Senate. And finally, this morning, it looks like TWISP is actually going to have a new civic building after all, thanks to a last-minute budget appropriation. $1.5 million, as a matter of fact, was earmarked. It was put in place by 12th District State Representative Mike Steele, and that helps plug a hole in the overall $4.7 million project. The rest of the costs will be paid by earlier capital budget allocations, a community development block grant, and the town's reserve funds. The new civic building in TWISP will replace the former town hall. It'll house the government offices of TWISP and its emergency communications center. That's headlines at 14 minutes after the hour. Going to have a newscast for you tonight at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. Grant in the anchor chair. He also does a little weather forecasting, and he's good at both. And with the preview, here's Grant.
Thanks, and good Friday morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, after a lengthy search and interview process, the Wenatchee School District has announced the hiring of 2 new elementary principals. We'll tell you more on that story. Windy weather over the next couple of days, and then quiet and nice. I'll have your complete North Central Washington weather forecast. And in sports, Eric Granstrom will have results of yesterday's golf and prep track and field results. That and all the day's news coming up tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Life Evening News. We hope you'll join us then. Dan?
Thank you, Grant. Don't forget, we'd love to hear from you, our viewers. Look at the bottom of your screen. That's the ways you can get a hold of us. You can use Facebook Messenger, email us directly, news@ncwlife.com. You can use our website, ncwlife.com. That's just for comments or if you have a news tip. We'd love to hear from you. Going to take a break. When we come back, sports. We're talking Mariners and Seahawks and high school sports, both results and the schedule of the weekend's competition. We'll also have the obscure holiday, today in history, some celebrity birthdays, a very short and very pithy commentary from Mike McNaughty, and we visit with our friends at Confluence Health in the pediatrics department. It's all coming up. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Having a relationship with your pediatrician is so important. Feeling that sense of trust, that is priceless. I tell everybody about CVCH. I love it there. When I make an appointment, I don't have to take an entire day off. As a working mom, my life is really busy. Family time is everything. That's what we all work towards. And I feel like CVCH respects that.
Is search engine optimization right for my business? Maybe. Studies show the first and second search results get 50% of all the clicks. But you have to fight national chains to get there. If the user has to scroll down to find you, tough luck. You could hide a dead body on page 2 and the whole zombie apocalypse on page 3. Or you could spend less and get an ad in the Impact Big Print phone book, giving local businesses a chance to shine.
Impact Directories. Bigger print, better book.
We're back at 16 minutes after the hour on this Friday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. UC Kikuchi carried a no-hitter into the 7th inning against Houston yesterday. Carlos Correa, however, broke it up. Here it is.
88 pitches in, no hits allowed, 2 walks to shoot so far. Now a 3-2 count on Correa. Correa shoots one to right field. Dylan Moore won't get there. There's the first hit of the game for the Astros. Carlos Correa into second base. The foot looks fine. A double to right center field.
So he lost the no-hitter, but he still won. In fact, he pitched really good. His first victory of the season, UC Kikuchi did. He went 7 innings. He allowed just the 1 hit. He also had 7 strikeouts and walked just 2.
And 20 strikeouts.
And Altuve down on strikes. Murphy holds on.
The 2-2. Swing and a miss. Center cut fastball, and he blows it right past Chas McCormick. Second strikeout for Kikuchi.
And chase that. That's a good strikeout. His third. And there's 2 down here in the 3rd inning. 2-2. Another ground ball. Seager quick release. Got him. And you say Kikuchi holding down the top scoring team in the American League. Through 5. He's got a no-no. 2-2. Got him.
You say is 1-2. Swing and a miss for strike 3. A cutter gets Castro. Back-to-back strikeouts for Kikuchi to open up the 6th inning. He's got 5 on the afternoon.
There's the 0-2 pitch to Altuve. Got him to chase it. Strikes out the side in the 6th.
Bregman holds the bat low on the knob. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss for strike 3. A cutter.
Off the plate. Kikuchi. Oh, that's a brilliant play. Brilliant play. Well done.
Sees it, attacks it right away, able to catch it in the air before it bounces again. That's one of the keys. He was so fast getting off the mound. The short hops him, he might drop it, but he's able to catch it in the air. And that big hop, what a pop-up slide. Throws a strike to first. Pretty good fastball. McDelivery Supermo in the play by Yusei, helping himself out.
Ground ball, JP. Shutout lives through 7. Kikuchi's given up just 1 hit. He has been brilliant.
Anthony Mishovich came on in the 8th. He worked a perfect 1-2-3 inning, and then Kendall Graveman came on to the 9th to earn his 3rd save of the season. The only offense Seattle could muster was all they needed. 3rd inning.
His next pitch. Swinging a fastball is rocketed out to right field. Punched deep and gone into the 2nd row, right over the leap of McCormick in right field. Taylor Trammell going deep to begin the top of the 3rd. He has put the Mariners in front 1-0. Number 4 on the season for the rookie. That just got over the leap of McCormick.
Mariners have some fans in Houston.
I think that was from throwing the ball back on the field.
It sounded like it.
It's all the offense he would need. His best outing as a Mariner, really. He looked really good. Seattle returns home to begin a 6-game homestand tonight. The Angels are in town at T-Mobile Park. Chris Flexen will get the start for Seattle. He'll go against Andrew Haney. Seattle's starting rotation, however, took another hit yesterday. Marco Gonzalez has gone on the 10-day IR. He's got a left forearm strain. Manager Scott Service made the announcement yesterday. Gonzalez, who felt the injury in the final inning of his last start, is the third Seattle starting pitcher to suffer an injury in April alone. Meanwhile, Mitch Haniger, he's out of the lineup. He didn't play yesterday on Thursday, according to manager Scott Service. He kept him out because Mitch is not exactly feeling 100%. The first round of the NFL draft, which pretty much as everybody expected, Trevor Lawrence went to Jacksonville, Zach Wilson to the Jets for the first 2 picks. Seahawks have the 56th pick in today's second round. General manager John Schneider says their focus has been on re-signing current players and picking up free agents since they knew they'd only have 3 picks in this year's draft.
You know, we really don't ever feel like it stops here. We're constantly trying to build this team all the way through. So to say that we feel good about the things we've done, obviously being able to retain some of our own guys, adding the players that we added in free agency, but it's really a never-ending quest all the way until, you know, the next Super Bowl. So we're never complacent at any position, quite frankly.
Of course, most of the time in Seattle's pre-draft press conference was all about the offseason, the controversy with comments from Russell Wilson, rumors of a possible trade for Russell Wilson. Coach Pete Carroll said nothing's changed. Russell Wilson is our guy.
We don't always say the right thing. We don't always do the right thing. And so what I do is whenever things come out, whether it was Russell or anybody else I've ever dealt with in our team that's of a high-profile player in high-profile situations, we address all of it immediately. And he knows exactly where I was coming from. And I told him early on, you know, that this could be really, you know, a long issue that we're dealing with in the media, and I wasn't going to say a word because I knew what the truth was. And we had communicated clearly. I knew right where Russ was coming from. And unfortunately for the people who were following it from the, you know, reading the articles and whatever the people were saying, you didn't have the benefit of what I knew and what Russ knew. And so I've never have played to those kinds of situations and tried to, you know, smooth them out or deal with them or whatever. Just as long as I know the truth, I have the power to know that. And I felt fine about it. I just knew it was uncomfortable. And there was some stuff that, you know, that was said that had to be dealt with, and it has been. So things are said, and sometimes you have to deal with stuff, and that's how we take care of our business. And we're in a fantastic place right now, and really excited about this team and this season and this draft coming up and all of that. And you know, a little bit frustrated that we're not able to do our football in the off season right now. You know, we're in a Zoom mode and in a virtual mode right now, but that's just the way it is. And so we'll make the most of it and compete to make it the best.
Meanwhile, back at this year's draft, Coach Carroll says the work going back to last summer when they traded for Jamal Adams all plays into what they're going to be doing this year.
We're not going into the draft with great needs and big spaces that we need to fill and all of that, because, you know, the work that the personnel department put together to get our guys in positions to situate the roster so we're in a really good place. And we feel really good about that right now. So hopefully we'll get some help and all that. But whenever, if you can imagine, a draft pick right now, the number 1 pick right now, played for us last year. That's freaking great. And he had a terrific football season, and he's going to play for us this year as a legit starter. I mean, it's an enormous pick that we gain value, and I'm just thrilled that Jamal's part of our team. And he's going to get way better too. He's going to improve a tremendous amount, and so it's going to be really exciting to watch how that goes down the road.
Seahawks have the 56th pick in today's draft. That's in the second round, and they get the 129th and the 250th picks in tomorrow's 4th and 7th rounds. All right, high school softball. The scores came in early and often yesterday. This is yesterday's results. Afraid of blinking Kashmir 10-0. Okanagan clobbered Chelan 20-2. Brewster blows out Liberty Bell 28-5. We got softball here today on the NCW Live channel. The Wenatchee Panthers hosting the Moses Lake Chiefs. They've moved the game times up. They moved them up an hour so they can go to prom tonight. So we'll stream the first game live on Facebook starting at 3 o'clock. Eric Granstrom will have the call. It'll be on television beginning at 7 tonight right here on the NCW Live channel. All right, here's a look at the rest of the busy softball schedule today. The 3 o'clock games have Cascade hosting Wahluke. Soap Lake is at Manson. Brewster will host Pateros at 3:30, and then Elmira, Cooley, Heartline, England, Dan, and John Ford Coley will visit Lake Roosevelt at 4:30. Tomorrow's 11 a.m. doubleheaders. Eastmont hosts Ephrata, Chelan is at Quincy, OMAG visits Okanagan, and Liberty Bell takes on Tenaska. We got baseball. We got a doubleheader here tomorrow on the NCW Life channel. Wenatchee will host Brewster at Historic Recreation Park. We'll stream the first game live on Facebook beginning at 11. It'll be on TV at 1. The doubleheader baseball action begins today. Moses Lake will be at Ephrata. Cascade will host Royal at 3. Lake Roosevelt will take on Amara-Cooley Hardline at 4. Tomorrow, 11 o'clock, doubleheaders, all of them. Eastmont hosting Chelan, Cashmere's at Quincy. Omak entertains Okanagan. Waterville Mansfield is at Wahluke. Libertyville takes on Tenaska. There is soccer this weekend. Cascade will host Omak today at 5. Eastmont will welcome Royal tonight at 7. Tomorrow you got Chelan travels to Moses Lake. Libertyville hosts Okanagan. Tenaska visits Orville. Those are 11 a.m. starts. And then soccer tomorrow at 1. Wenatchee will host Wahluke. Brewster is at Cashmere. Quincy hosts Ephrata. And Manson visits Bridgeport. And those are just some of the games that people are playing. On this Friday, the last day of April, the 30th, I had nine obscure holidays I could have chosen today. National Raisin Day, National Oatmeal Cookie Day, National Bugs Bunny Day, National Adopt a Shelter Pet Day, National Honesty Day. I'm not lying to you about that. It's National Military Brats Day. It's National Bubble Tea Day. No, we're going to do a little tribute to our hairdressers. And as you can tell, I haven't seen mine for a while. Of course, back in the day, guys went to barbers and ladies went to the salon. Now everybody goes to a hairstylist. It's Hairstylist Appreciation Day, so appreciate the person who makes your hair look good. It's an art. There's a reason these people are licensed by the state, because they know what they're doing. And Brad, I got to get a hold of you, buddy. I'm getting to be a little bit of a hippie. And hairstylists can be very creative. They can look at your shape of your head and your eyes and all that stuff and say, I think you would look good with this or that or the other thing. So hairstylists, not just cutting your hair, they're doing a lot more than that. So they hone their skills so you can look your best. So if you like your hairstylist, give them a little love today. It is National Hairstylist Appreciation Day. I'm going to celebrate by getting my hair cut. I'm a hippie. 27 minutes after the hour today in history. It is April 30th, and on this date, 232 years ago today, George Washington got the gig. There he is on the balcony of Federal Hall in Wall Street in Lower Manhattan in New York City. George Washington took the oath of office to become the first president of the United States. His first term went really well. Second term, not so much. But George got the gig, and there he is. We have no photograph of that because photography wasn't invented in 1789. We always do states, and when they enter the Union, happy birthday to Louisiana. Yeah, that's the Louisiana state flag. It's 209 years old today. The territory of Orleans officially becomes Louisiana, the 18th state to join the Union. It's known, of course, as the Pelican State, thus the flag. The world's longest bridge over a body of water is in Louisiana. It goes over Lake Pontchartrain. It's the Causeway. The bridge is 24 miles long and has two parallel spans. The first opened in 1956, the other in 1969. So if you are afraid of going over bridges, a 23-mile bridge over a body of water is probably not your cup of tea. Louisiana is the only state in the Union that uses parishes and not counties. It's the same deal. They just call them parishes. They were based on churches, actually, the territory of the individual churches, which is why they call them parishes and not counties. In Louisiana, it's the same thing, really. The Louisiana State Capitol is 450 feet tall. It has 34 floors. It's the tallest state capitol building in this country. And Louisiana, unfortunately, ranks dead last in a lot of categories. They are the least healthy state in the Union. The median age for Louisiana is dead last. Louisiana has the nation's highest rate of alcoholism. They have the highest rate among all 50 states in drug abuse, drug overdoses, and they have the nation's highest homicide rate per capita. But we still love Louisiana. Love Louisiana. Happy 209th birthday to that great state. This is the box score from the Senators and the Yankees from a game at Yankee Stadium, April 30th, 1939, 82 years ago today. You see Lou Gehrig's box score is circled there. The Senators beat the Yankees 3-1 at the stadium in the Bronx. Lou Gehrig played first base, batted sixth, went 0 for 4. It was his 2,130th consecutive game. He would never play another game in the major leagues again, his final game. Adolf Hitler and Eva Braun did not have much of a honeymoon. This was the day, April 30th, 1945. The Allies are closing in on the bunker. Down to the basement of the Chancellery they go, and Adolf Hitler and Eva Braun commit suicide. They were married less than 40 hours. The end of the Third Reich, April 30th, 1945. Speaking of the end of things, the Vietnam War ended on this date, April 30th, 1975. The fall of Saigon, communist forces gain control of the capital of South Vietnam. In Saigon, the Vietnam War ends with the unconditional surrender of the South Vietnamese Army. If you were watching television on April 30th, 1975, this is what you saw.
And it was really obvious that Carlos was a big factor.
Well, you didn't see Pete Carroll.
American embassy officials had promised an orderly evacuation for their own people, the foreign press, and for all those Vietnamese who had worked for them and might be in danger. The plan was for a helicopter evacuation from the embassy grounds, and the signal was Bing Crosby singing White Christmas over Radio Saigon. But somebody forgot to play it, and the embassy was stormed. From midday to past midnight, a constant shuttle of naval helicopters from the American 7th Fleet airlifted out of that embassy more than 5,000 people. The ambassador went on the final helicopter from the platform above his office. He was the last American to leave Vietnam.
The American fleet had been having problems since the start of the evacuation, with the arrival of South Vietnamese pilots and their helicopters loaded with family and friends. Hovering above the decks to unload their passengers, the pilots were unfamiliar with landing their craft on a moving ship. One crashed into the side of the USS Blue Ridge. Others managed to crash land on the deck of the ship. For those that did manage to put down, they were simply pushed over the side and into the sea by U.S. sailors and Marines to make room for the returning American craft based on that ship, filled with evacuees from Saigon.
The city of Saigon was renamed today. The victorious communists who forced the city's surrender said the capital of South Vietnam henceforth will be known as Ho Chi Minh City. The Viet Cong headquarters was set up in the former presidential palace, and the former president, Dong Van Minh, is in custody. The American embassy was sacked, burned, and looted.
Vietnam War coming to an end 46 years ago today. One fun note in Today in History. Keith Moon is the greatest rock and roll drummer of all time, bar none. He's my favorite, and he also was never destined to live very long. He only lived to the age of 32, but he was known as Moon the Loon. And on this date, April 30th, 1976, Keith Moon, drummer of The Who, paid 9 cab drivers to block off both ends of East 48th Street in New York City so he could throw all the contents of his hotel room at the Lexington out the window. Yes, they blocked off East 48th Street with 9 cabs. Keith Moon paid for all the cabs, and then he proceeded to trash his hotel room and throw everything out the window onto East 48th Street. We miss Keith Moon. 2 birthdays for you. Who's David Thompson? Well, if you took Washington State history in junior high school, you should know who David Thompson is. He was the English explorer, and he was the first person to ever navigate the full length of the Columbia River, the first European anyway. Made a lot of friends. His maps were so accurate that they were using them in the 20th century. He went all the way, the entire length of the Columbia River, David Thompson did, made a lot of friends with the natives. How did he do it? Tobacco. He carried with him copious amounts of tobacco on his traveling party, and he handed out tobacco to the Native Americans, and they liked it, and they said, yeah, you can hang around. David Thompson, born in the state in 1770, and the great Chinese tennis player Wang Yafan. Wang Yafan, hi Wang, 28 years old today. 34 minutes after the hour, the Magnotti opinion, if you blink, you're going to miss it, so don't go anywhere. And then my conversation with Dr. Eisert and Dr. Breslin, Confluence Health, and the pediatric department. Kids Health is the topic when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Bring the whole family up to Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house in historic downtown Chelan. Applewood smoked brisket, street-style tacos, and our award-winning barbecue rubs and sauces. Our meals pair perfectly with our exciting lineup of craft ales, made right here in Chelan. We've got room for big groups, or give us a call for catering. So grab the kids and check out the fun at Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house located in the heart of Chelan.
JDSA Law is a proud sponsor of these local sports broadcasts. They've been serving North Central and Eastern Washington since 1946. For over 70 years, their team of dedicated professionals has delivered quality, innovative legal services. JDSA Law partners with you to provide the finest legal advice and support as you navigate your personal and business challenges, risks, and accomplishments. At JDSA Law, they salute our local athletes and wish them well on another excellent season of competition.
This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and I'm so full of crap, even I can't believe it sometimes.
One of the funnest and finest musical events in the Pacific Northwest is happening right here in the Chelan Valley. The Lake Chelan Wine and Jazz Festival is back and better than ever. 4 days, 10 beautiful venues, 13 artists in 23 unique performances. Wine tasting, shopping, and food are also on the menu for this premier event. Get your tickets now for this amazing experience with net proceeds benefiting local charities. We'll see you at this year's Lake Chelan Wine and Jazz Festival.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Every month we pay a visit with our friends at Confluence Health. Normally we do it in studio, but the heck with that. Let's get outside. They have a beautiful campus here at the intersection of 9th and Chelan here in Wenatchee. And for the first time in our continuing series of visits, we're actually talking about children's health care. We have a couple of folks who do that for a living, and it's ironic. Douglas and Kirsten, introduce yourself first before we dive into the conversation.
Yeah, I'm Doug Eisert, pediatrician. Have been here for over 30 years, and happy to be here.
And I'm Dr. Kirsten Breslin, also a pediatrician. I'm a newer transplant to the area. I moved to Wenatchee last summer, but grew up in Central Oregon and have really loved being here.
A lot of similarities between Central Oregon and Central Washington.
Absolutely.
So
yes.
It's good to have you both here. It's ironic, we were talking to these two fine physicians on my way here. Drove by the billboard, which features the pediatrics department, children's health, and the sign says, "Children don't come with instruction manuals." And it's so true, because they don't.
They don't.
But if parents lay the foundation for to get the kids healthy and strong as they enter into their adolescent, teenage, and then adult years, they're ahead of the game from the get-go, and that's the key. That's what we're here to talk about.
Yes, very good. Well, thank you for the opportunity. We're pleased to be here. I'm very pleased to have Dr. Breslin here with me today. As you know, she recently joined, and she was trained in Dartmouth in pediatrics and specializes in the care of children and teens who are both healthy and those that have chronic problems. We want to get the word out that we have some wonderful pediatric providers, new providers in Dr. Heather Davis, Dr. Alyssa White, and Dr. Kirsten Breslin. And they're looking forward to meeting families and children and providing some medical care for those children ages birth through 18 years. As we all know, the COVID pandemic has disrupted our lives for over a year now, and we're all tired of COVID, and it's kept us home and isolated and to a degree anxious. But we want to stay the course to beat this so that we can move on with our lives. We emphasize that our clinics are open and safe and welcoming. We wear masks and are following protocols to keep our patients safe in our clinics. We know that people, out of some fear of COVID, have postponed some important medical care like vaccinations, assessments.
Just general physicals. People quit going to their doctor.
That's exactly right. Just general physicals, and so we want to help with that.
Well, let's go back about a year. The COVID pandemic is in full swing. So the first thing that you did in your pediatrics department is how does COVID affect us? Because we are our specialty is children's health. So COVID in children, where do we go from here? Take us back a year. How did your department handle the original COVID pandemic from a pediatric standpoint?
Well, from the very beginning, we started saying, please don't come in unless you need vaccinations, unless your children are under a year, or unless you need medication or specific care. And then we started working towards offering virtual care too, which we still are willing to do. And so we virtually closed for a while, particularly March and April, and then slowly opened up. And now we're wide open and happy to see people and really want to help with those things that have been postponed.
Early on, epidemiologists came out, and it turns out they were pretty much right. They said COVID is going to be affecting people with respiratory issues, people with underlying health conditions, elderly people. Kids, not so much. Kids, from a COVID standpoint, seem to have gotten through this. Okay, what is it about a kid's immunity system that really COVID kind of just said, I'm not going to worry with the kids. I'll go after the 70 and 80-year-olds. From a medical standpoint, why was that the case?
So obviously there's been a lot of research in a lot of avenues, and so there's certainly some theories. I don't know that we know 100%. Kids do have a slightly different immune system and also are seeing a lot more viruses on kind of a typical basis. You know, it's not uncommon for kids in their first couple years of life to have 7 to 10 colds a year, which for you or I would seem insane.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so just with the fact that they're processing all of these, including other coronaviruses, may be a part of why they have tolerated it better. They have not been totally untouched, however, and there definitely have been kids who have landed in the ICU, the intensive care unit. And there's a small subset of kids who are getting kind of an inflammatory syndrome, you know, weeks after a COVID infection. So we are still needing to take this very seriously from the perspective of kids, though I've been very grateful that by and large they've tolerated it very well.
Now that kids, kindergartners through 5th grade in most of all of the local school districts are back to full-time in-classroom learning, but they've done all the protocols to make sure that the kids are safe. Have you seen any uptake, or everything seems to be going okay in the month or so since they've been back in the class?
For the most part, it appears that things are going fairly well. We have heard of a couple of cases of children with COVID that presumably have acquired it in the school setting, but they've done a remarkably good job of keeping children and the teachers safe.
Kids, go ahead. You had something to add to that? Please do.
Yeah.
Yes,
well,
please.
I would just say, though we have seen a little bit, and there is a little risk there. I want to just also emphasize the benefit of having kids back in school.
Yes.
Because it's been a really hard year for them to be disconnected from their peers, to be isolated. We've seen certainly a substantial uptick in mental health issues, so depression and anxiety, as well as I think we all underestimated how much passive activity and snack-free time occurred at school. So we've also seen a substantial uptick in obesity. And so I think, you know, everything in medicine is kind of that cost-benefit analysis of what are the risks and what are the benefits. And I certainly feel at this point with the rates, having the kids in school, the benefits outweigh the risks.
When kids get old enough to really understand what's going on around them, we'll say maybe 3 or 4 years old, going to the doctor even when you're feeling fine can be nerve-wracking for anybody, especially kids. What's your advice to parents who say, okay, we're going to go see Dr. Eisert, you know, nothing's wrong with you, it's just every once in a while we need to, you know, make sure everything's okay. Kids are going to, I don't want to see the doctor, you know,
Yes.
How do you alleviate the fears that kids have when they visit a physician at such a young age, even if there's nothing wrong?
Well, we get them talking about themselves, and we ask them if they have a pet or what they like to do for fun, what they like to do outside. We get them thinking about themselves and distract them from the anxiety that they might feel. And we do a lot in the exam room to help them to feel like they are welcome and that we're, as much as we can be, on a friendship basis.
And of course, mom or dad or the guardian are with them throughout the process.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also think when kids come in regularly for their well child checks, you know, we do these things, we interact with them, we get to know them, they remember us, and we ask about their pets and those sorts of things. We develop this relationship. Then when they are sick and come in, there's some of that relationship already there, and it's a little less scary.
Are kids less inclined to say to mom and dad, I don't feel very good? Do they want to put up that self-defense mechanism, I'm fine, and it's really up to the parent or the guardian to say, I don't think something's right with Judy or Johnny?
Oh, it totally depends on the kid.
Totally, okay.
Yeah.
There are kids in either camp.
Okay.
And depends on the age. Yeah. Sometimes the older they are, the less they want to talk about how they feel.
I've seen a noticeable uptick in autism.
Yes.
And it's sad, obviously, and what are some of the signs that parents need to look at to think maybe something, we need to get this checked because there's some issues here? What age? How do you know? What are you looking for maybe some signs that you might have a slightly autistic or severely autistic child?
Well, we look for lack of speech at a young age. If a child does not talk well by about 2 years of age, we should have about 50 words and 2-word sentences by 2, and about 50% understood by 2 years of age. And if children don't speak, that's one red flag. I think the other issue is that if children don't have a desire to interact with each other, with their friends or their family, that's another red flag. And sometimes it's difficult to tell, but what we also try to do is to screen them at these young ages and ask parents specific questions about what the child is comfortable with. And for instance, one of the questions that we ask is, does a child point? If the child points at the truck or points to get the milk out of the refrigerator, then that assumes that there's a relationship, that the child understands the relationship between them and someone else. And a few of the absence of pointing at some age, especially by the toddler years, is one of those things that we also watch for.
Do kids need regular physical checkups just like adults? You know, once a year you go in, you get your blood pressure checked, you do the whole 9 yards?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
For guys, turn your head and cough. I mean, is that, I mean...
Absolutely, and actually
Yes.
it's even a little more than once a year, especially initially. So that's
Okay.
what we call the well child checks, which are essentially the periods of time that we connect with kids and their families to see how things are going, to assess their growth and development. So we do all the measurements, the height, the weight, their head circumference, and we can plot those against the standards to make sure that they're following their own curve. So essentially having appropriate growth between each visit. We check development, so we ask a lot of questions. There's also some specific screeners that we give occasionally. So periodically we'll give kind of questionnaires. There's one in particular that we do at 18 and typically 24 months that screens for autism. And then we do vitals. We get heart rates and blood pressures, especially as they get a little bit older, to screen for other medical problems that may come up.
I've talked to emergency room physicians, and they explain to me very thoroughly how they have to ethically do certain things when somebody comes into the emergency room and they know Johnny didn't fall off his skateboard and broke his ankle, something else happened. Do you have the same sort of, what are the parameters if somebody comes in with just a regular checkup and there's something that concerns you about the family situation? How does one handle that from your position as pediatricians?
Oh, we are, as other professionals, mandatory reporters, and so we generally have a direct conversation with parents about the story and what we see as being different in mechanism as to how something might have happened, or as to what their concerns are. Sometimes their concerns are different than what we see in the child. we are by law mandated to speak with Children's Services if we have a concern. We don't decide what's happened directly or what's wrong from the sense of the family investigation. That's up to Children's Services. But we do share with them concerns about what we see and the potential mechanism of it.
Let's talk vaccinations. Well, actually, let's go even farther back. You have the baby, healthy baby, 10 toes, 10 fingers, everything is good to go. Your mom comes home with the baby. Then what? Do you start making the communications on a regular basis? Are you doing okay? You got your formula? How does that work? The initial, say, year of a child's life.
So typically either from the hospital or the midwife services that work here in our area as well, we'll set up an appointment with a pediatrician or with a family medicine physician to have your child seen kind of within a day or two of going home from the hospital, just to make sure feeding is still going well, starting to gain weight, because every baby loses a little weight, and so we want to make sure we kind of see that return of weight gain. And so usually there's a visit kind of within that first week. Then we often see kids around 2 weeks, and then it starts to spread out a little to 2 months, 4 months, 6 months. This is where I was mentioning earlier, it's more than yearly initially.
Exactly.
9 months, 12 months, 15 months, 18 months, 2 years, and then we go to yearly after that. For those well child checks, you know, when they are coming in just for the routine screening and kind of wellness assessment, obviously we're here all the time in case there are questions that come up or they are sick for whatever reason.
I don't want to miss anything. We don't have a lot of time to talk, we could be here for like an hour, and I could learn tons of stuff. I don't want to forget anything. You made copious notes, Doc. Some of the stuff that you want to stress and touch on that I haven't had a chance to ask.
Sure. I just want to touch on anxiety, sadness, depression, even suicidal thoughts that some individuals have had. And it's been a stressful year with COVID, and so we want to emphasize that we're here and available. I brought a copy of the crisis line phone numbers in case you want to put those out. We also want to, again, put the word out that we support vaccinations. And for those who are hesitant on vaccinations, we encourage questions. We're happy to talk, and the providers have reliable information about vaccines. And probably the final one from my standpoint is we want to support COVID vaccines for those who are eligible, because COVID vaccines do save lives and prevent serious disease in friends and loved ones, and that's how we look forward to getting back to a semblance of normal in our future.
What's a good day in the life of the pediatric department here at Confluence Health? Give me a success story. Just give me a good day. What's a good day for you two? I'll let you go first.
Well, for me, a good day is seeing people that I connect with, having those relationships, seeing them fostered, knowing that they come in, they're comfortable asking me the tough questions, that we hopefully can find something, if it's there, to help them with their health. That's a really good day.
Same question.
Along similar lines, you know, there's actually many fields within pediatrics, and the reason I got into general pediatrics, you know, kind of that outpatient medicine, is that having that continuity of care, getting to see patients over and over and see how they grow, see their successes, share in the struggles, is what I love.
The day is going to come, I'm sure it's happened to Douglas, where you're going to be at Safeway and a patient is going to come up to you.
Yep.
And I remember that kid. This kid had some serious health issues, and now he's 25 years old and he's married with a family, and I feel pretty good. It's going to happen because I'm sure it's happened to you.
It's happened. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I bet it is. One last question, I'll cut you loose. Is there a hard and fast rule, and when you transition away from pediatrics and move on to just a general family physician for your general health, is there a hard and fast rule as far as your physical maturity, or do you just know, I don't need to see the kid doctor anymore?
Well, some families make that choice. while pediatricians can still see them, and that's perfectly fine. Typically around 18, but then sometimes we have these wonderful connections that stretch to 19 and occasionally 20, and that's usually okay, but then we typically encourage them to cut themselves loose from us in that age range.
Or there's the occasional kid who starts to develop more problems that are more adult-like and just outside of our area of expertise. And
exactly.
then we share that with them and say, hey, maybe
I think we should close out this conversation with what we started with. Kids don't come in the instruction manuals, but parents, I'm talking to you. If you start out and build that foundation for a good, healthy childhood for your kids, they're going to be ahead of the game the older they get, and they're going to make some healthy, hopefully some healthy life choices, and have a well-balanced diet and exercise and live a long and healthy life. And it starts with pediatrics at Confluence Health. Doctors, I appreciate this visit.
Thanks very much.
And you look great in a suit. I know.
Thank you.
I know you don't like wearing them, but you know. So
once in a while.
Maybe you can borrow ties from Dr. Johnson. I think he's got a closet full of them. Yeah, there you go. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
To achieve greatness once, it's not the end of the journey. It is only the beginning. Introducing the next all-electric super truck. The revolutionary GMC Hummer EV SUV. Reserve one now while they last.
You love to help others. You need a solid career. You can have it all with help from Charter College. Our 10-month medical assistant program prepares you to work in healthcare settings like physician offices, rehab centers, and clinics. You'll learn to take patient vitals, assist with exams, administer injections, and maintain medical records. When you're ready to launch a rewarding healthcare career, visit chartercollege.edu, because we work to get you to work.
When you think of Doghouse Motorsports, you might think of motorcycles, but there's a lot more in this house. How about Honda power equipment? From snowblowers to lawnmowers to generators and even water pumps, Honda is the brand that sets the standards. Perhaps you need an ATV or UTV. The Doghouse has the largest selection anywhere. Did we mention watercraft and snowmobiles? And of course, we have motorcycles too. Back it up with terrific customer service and you have Wenatchee's best motorsports store 5 years running. Isn't it time for you to be in the Doghouse?
Highlander Grill and Golf Course is known as one of the finest wedding venues in the Wenatchee area. You do not have to be a member to come to Highlander. Highlander Golf Course offers a first-class backdrop for your wedding day. Our friendly professional staff will ensure your wedding and reception is picture perfect, from every moment leading up to the I do's to when the lights go down at the end of your reception. Hi, I'm Shalane, site coordinator for Highlander Grill. Give me a call to schedule your event today.
And we are back, getting ready to wrap up another week of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, and another month of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley continues to warm up. 62 degrees outside of our studios. We're in for a mild day today, and then here comes the wind. You get used to it around here in the springtime from the National Weather Service. One more look at your forecast. That high pressure that led us to those very warm temperatures over the last 4 or 5 days. It's going to start weakening, and it's going to allow a cold front, which is going to move into the region throughout the course of tonight and into tomorrow. So it's still a very mild day today. 76 will be our forecast high today. We hit 79 on Thursday, 47 for the overnight low tonight. As the day progresses, you'll notice the wind picking up in intensity. We'll have gusts above 20 miles an hour at times today. Breezy into the overnight hours as the cold front really begins to usher itself in, dipping down to 47. So Saturday, as you can see, considerably cooler. About 70, which is still above normal, and it's going to be pretty breezy all day on Saturday. Pretty consistent wind, northwest wind, about 50 miles an hour all day Saturday. Really spilling into Saturday night. Then it dies down in the wee small hours on Sunday. Sunday, you can't ask for much better for the second day of May. How about sunshine and a high of about 72 degrees with just a nice light breeze. Monday, a couple of clouds, high of about 70. So we're looking good as we say goodbye to April and welcome May. I hope you have a great weekend. I expect to see you Monday morning at 7 a.m. Take care. Bye-bye.